Hey, how's it going? I hope your week is off to a good start. It's Tuesday, so buckle up, time travelers. Another Time Machine Tuesday is coming at you. Welcome back to Brickscale Studio. My name is Jeff. And in the previous section, I advised you to buckle up, and that is good advice for this episode. It was a struggle. Let me tell you, there's a lot going on in this episode. We had we had one crazy issue in the part work, and then just some random problems. So let me look at my notes here really quick. So in today's episode, we're going to continue work on the center console and we're going to start working on the dashboard, and we're going to get all that attached to the chassis plate. But along the way, we are installing a couple instrument panels with LEDs, no problem. Steering wheel, no problem. Actually, the instrument panels were a little bit of a problem because the screws that they wanted us to use were not long enough, and the parts would not go together. So we had to sort of adjust on the fly. Same thing with the steering wheel case that surrounds the steering column. The screws, this time the length was okay, but they weren't thick enough. So again, we had to improvise. Now all that, piece of cake, no problem. We weathered the storm perfectly. However, when we get to the end, the final issue, issue 48, yeah, it was a bit of a struggle. And I've watched other videos of people building this model, and they also dread issue 48. It's a lot of wiring, but not functional wiring. It's decorative. So you're managing bundles of wires, you're weaving them in and out of and around instrument panels and over and under things. You're weaving several strands of wire through a clip. You're inserting wires into holes in other parts. So it's a little complicated, a little fussy. Therefore, this issue or this episode is slightly longer. But we do get through it in the end. As always, the Lego portion is super easy, but we did sort of cheat on that one a little bit. We did a couple extra steps, but without further ado, let's get into this episode, and then we'll talk about it at the end. Okay, so just to get caught up from last time, let me bring this in here. So again, we mainly have been working on this this dashboard and console area. So I believe today we're going to continue work on this dashboard, and then we're going to attach these two pieces together somehow. So let's get into issue 45. We're doing issues 45 through 48. Let's start with issue 45 and see how we get along. So let's see. So we've got some panels here with some wiring. We've got some housing, some vents, another tab, and then we have some more screws here. So let's see. So here are our instructions. So yeah, it looks like we're building a component and then we're attaching it to this piece. Yeah, so we're building this little piece right here. So here's the magazine. And then a preview, more dashboard work in the next issue. Okay, so we have this piece, which is called the dial housing. So it has a wire attached to it already. So I'm going to unwind that, and it is labeled 18 on the plug down here. So this is the dial housing. I'm going to set that to the side. This is an LED panel, which, yeah, looks like it has a bunch of lights on it. So again, I'm going to unwrap this. And this already has, so it has two ends. There's one end that's attached to the circuit board, and then we've got this long tail and a shorter tail. So we'll set that aside. Then we have the dial panel. So this has the like speedometer and that kind of thing. So I imagine this is going to go behind or in front of the LED panel. So I'm just going to set that there. And then we have these vents, which are right there. And we have another little plastic tab for wire control. Okay, so let's get into this. All right, first thing we want to do is take this panel and we want to take our vents. So this can only go on one way, so it goes on just like that. And we will be securing this with AP screws from the underside, of course. Okay, so we have the vents. So that's the LED panel going in just like that. So we want to make sure that these wires are coming out this way. And let's bring over the dashboard. All right, so we want both of these wires going down this hole here. And then this wire is just going to go off the back. So I'm going to start this longer wire first. Okay, and now that I've got that started, I have the other one in. And now you want to be careful because this is going to want to slide out of this channel because nothing is holding it in. There's no screws or anything holding it in. So you want to be careful. But you also want to be careful that you are not pinching any of the wires in there. And this is going in with some FP screws. All right, so that is in. So now we want this shorter wire going this way. Well, we want them both coming through this little channel here. And we're going to put that tab in. All right, so we got that in. And now we want to turn this around and we want to press in this panel. And that just presses in, no glue, it's not coming out. So that is all there is to do in issue 45. So we have some dash elements here. So I'm going to set this up here and let's look at issue 46. All right, so we have more parts for the dashboard, including LED and obviously some fixing screws. So we have a dashboard display, a casing, dials, and another LED panel and another tab. So here are our instructions. Again, and the magazine, and then, steering in the next issue. That should be fun. So this is our dashboard display. This is a casing. We have some BP, we have some AP screws. So here's our LED panel. I'm going to set that aside. And then in here we have the dials and our little tab. All right, again, we're going to bring over our dash that we were working on in the last issue. And this piece here, it's going to go right on these two. So one is a locator and the other one is a screw hole. So that's going to go right there. And of course, it's going to screw in from the underside with a BP screw. Okay, so that is on there. The next, I'm going to set this aside for a second because we're going to be working with this casing and this panel here. So there's a little channel in here that this is going to sit in. Yeah, so you want when you put these in, you want the dials facing to the left and the square one to the right. I mean, you'll see writing on it, and so you want to make sure you can read it and the writing's not upside down. I almost put it in upside down. All right, so again, there's like a little channel that this fits in, and then we're going to secure it back here with some AP screws. All right, there's that. All right, now we want to take, so we'll turn this over like so, and then we want to take our LED panel, and we want to turn it up. So obviously the lights are facing this way, and again there are two channels that this will sit down in. Okay, this one's a little more secure than the other one. It actually kind of stays in there a little bit. All right, we're going to bring over our dash again, and this is going on this side, and we want the plug to go down into that hole. Okay. And then we want to make sure that that's not pinched at all. Okay, that's going in just like that. Okay, and then we are going to, of course, turn the page. And that's going in with BP screws. Just make sure those are in there tight, which they are. So there we have that, and that is the end of issue 46. Oh wait, hold on. I think we need to connect a wire. Yes, so we're going to turn this over, and remember this little short wire that came out of the instrument panel. Yeah, we're going to connect these two wires together. And when you connect these, you always want to make sure that you are pushing on the plastic connectors and not the wires. So that is connected, and then we're just going to use a bracket, another tab, to secure that right in there. All right. We got it. Okay. So we have those wires connected, we have the little tab in, and that's what we have. And that's the end of issue 46. So we're kind of just rolling right along here. I think they lull you into submission before they hit you with that issue 48. Oh, okay, so now we're going to get into steering and all this kind of stuff. Okay. All right, let's check this out. So here are our instructions. Alrighty, so this looks like it may be a little crazy as well. We shall see. Okay, so let's go over our parts really quick. So we have a dashboard base, steering column, which is metal. We have two indicator levers. We have a steering column base upper and a steering column base lower. We have a bracket. We have center of the steering wheel, and then we have the steering wheel, which is metal. So these two parts are metal, and the rest is plastic. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take this, and we're going to put the indicator levers, which of course are different. Kind of make sure that you do is this little round end is the end that is going to determine right or left. So one goes in that side and one goes in this side, and they sort of flare out this way. So those just sit in there, and then we put this case over them, and that's going to hold them. And they do kind of move a little bit. This one is kind of not, oh, once we tighten this down, I bet you it'll be good. So this is going to go in with some AP screws. Yeah, so these do kind of move up and down. All right, so we have that in. So now we're going to take our dashboard piece that we built, and this is going to go right here like this. And again, we're attaching that with some FP screws. And there's the other side. Okay, now we're going to take this piece, we're going to turn it over, and we're going to take our bracket, whoops, and that's going to go right here, like so. And we're going to attach that with some BP screws. And tight. Yep. All right, so we got that. So now we're going to flip this over. Let's make sure all of our wires are down here, and this is going to sit on here like this. And we want to look in here, make sure that we have nothing pinched, which we do not. We are good. And then we are going to put 4 FP screws. Make sure that's clipped in good. Make sure that's tight. Okay, perfect. All right, now we're taking the steering column and we're feeding it through here. And then we have our steering wheel. And it's notched, so it can only go on one way. And of course, they make us turn the page. So we are going in with a BM screw. All right, so that is tight in there. And then we're just going to push in this piece. It should just push right in. All right, and you do hear a clip, so that's not going to fall out. So now we're going to attach the center console. So I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to take our center console, and this is going to go this way. We want to make sure these wires are down the center, because we do not want to get them clipped. And that is just going to sit right there like so. And that's with FP screws again. All right, there we have it. So that is issue 47. Okay, so now we are up to the, I'm going to set this up here for now. So we are up to the dreaded issue 48. Now, we're going to attempt, so as you can see, it is just wires and some cable ties, but none of these wires have plugs on them. This is just decorative. So you'll see here when we turn the page, you'll see that we're just wrapping wires around things. We're just wrapping wires, and there are a lot of steps, 29 steps. So again, you can just see how we're just doing wire wrapping. And then we have some more wires in the next section, so great. We do have a pack of screws, FP screws. All right, so we have a wire separator. We have 4 cable ties. And then a bunch of wires. So we have this bundle that is sort of partially twisted for us. And then we have a black wire, and then we have a yellow wire. Then we have this 4-lead red wire, 2-lead red wire, another 4-lead red wire which is longer, so you can see that these are different lengths here. So the shorter one, the longer one, we have this yellow wire, and then we have another bundle that has a bunch of different colors. And it's taped at the end, which is very nice of them. Okay, so the first thing they want us to do is to take this wire and we are going to pass it down in between. So it's going down in between these two pieces, and then it's coming down. So let me get this untangled, because there we go. So we are going down between these two parts, and then we're coming down here. And we're wrapping, and we're coming around. Okay, this is, so the struggle with this step is going to be keeping these wires from getting tangled up into each other. So we're coming down the center console like so. So now we are going to take our little floor panel, make sure these wires are just as they are. Okay, this steering wheel is annoying. All right, so now we're going to of course flip this whole thing over, and we're going to put 4 FP screws. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go here, 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 and here. So I kind of like to hold it up on the side like this so I'm not pushing down on these components up here. That's why, and I'm sorry that the view is probably not very good for you, but I will show you at the end what we did. All right, one more screw. All right, so we put those 4 screws in. Okay, so now we have the chassis plate, the center console, and the dash attached together. So that's what that is looking like. Again, this steering wheel is just flopping all over the place like a crazy person, but there we have that. I'm going to set it right here for now. Okay, so now comes the crazy parts. So 48B, so yes. So we're going to take this big bundle, and we're going to take this wire separator. So there is a large tab and a small tab. So we want the large tab facing us. We want the tabs up for one thing, and then we want the large tab this way and the smaller tab. And it's funny because in the instructions they make it seem almost like the tabs are one's longer and one's shorter, but really one's fatter and one's narrower. So you want the fatter one towards you and the narrower one facing away. And then we're going to take all of these wires, and we have, oh my gosh, this is so silly. I can't even. So this is one of the parts that people get frustrated with, because you need to put this, once you thread these wires through this separator, you can't just pull them around, right? So one of the frustrating things is how far down do you put in this bundle of wires? Okay, I realize some of these are probably confusing things, so I'm going to put those over to the side. So how far down the separator do you put the wires so that you still have enough to make everything work? So basically this thing is going to be going up here. in the dashboard, and the wires are going to be feeding and doing things and all sorts of things. So looking at the picture in the book, which of course this is not one-to-one, but it seems like we want maybe this separator to be about here. Maybe about here, a little further down. I know that I did watch a video, and yeah, they had put it on and then decided, oh no, we didn't move it down far enough, so they had to take it all out and then move it and then put it all back in. So we want to avoid that. At least I want to avoid that, because that just sounds awful. Okay, so again, we want red, red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, so it's again, let me make sure I got my tabs. Okay, no, this way. That's the bigger tab, okay. So you're going in like this, and then you're going in like this. And then we have white, white. Yeah, and sometimes this gets a little frustrating. So I'm just going to kind of pull, I'm going to get them started and pull them in, or pull them out, I guess, the same length. So we got red, red, white, white, and now we want black, black. And then yellow, yellow. Okay, so again, we have red, red, white, white, black, black, yellow, yellow, and brown. We haven't made the loop. We can easily slide this where we want it. So we want enough wire so that this will come out here, but then we also need enough so that this will come out of here. So I think I'm going to go a little further down, because that looks like I can get that there, and then this comes around, and then that's going to tighten up, and we're going to put like a bracket to kind of keep that. And then this is all going to come around through there. So now we take the wire and we feed it back through like so. Alright, so we are plodding right along here. And don't worry, I will like time lapse or just fade out and fade back in when, you know, we got these done. Because yeah, this is super time consuming. Okay, so we've got that in. Some of these are a little questionable, but I'm not even worried about it. Sorry that you cannot see what I'm doing, but I'm just twisting all of these wires. So yeah, this is just going, I hope I left enough. Looks like I did. Okay. All right, so then the next side, so that actually holds it in there once you've got the wires down in there. Yeah. Okay, so now this one is coming around here and snaking through here. All right, this one I maybe could have left some more, but we're gonna hope that works. And if worse comes to worse, we will just glue the heck out of it. So now we need our black wire. So we need 48C and 48D and our yellow wire. So we need our black wire and our yellow wire. All right, so this is gonna go here. And then this one is going to go down this way. This one is going to go down here and do the same thing. Okay, so those are going to go right down there. Okay. And then these are going to come down here. And they're going to come out this one. Okay. So we want to take the red wire with the 2 leads. Okay, so now it says that we want to take one of these cable ties. Let me just get rid of this. So now it wants us to take a cable tie. All right, so we got a cable tie on there. Now we need 48F. So that is the shorter of the 2 reds with the 4 lead. So it's coming out here, and it is going up here, like so. Okay, and now it wants us to take another cable tie. Okay, so now we've got one there. So now we want 48H, which is the longer red wire with the 4 ends. It is going right in here like so. It wants us to do another cable tie. So we got that one. Now we want 48G, which is this lovely, is it our last one? I believe it is. This one wants to go out the back this way. So it wants to come up like so. And it wants us to, once again, cable tie all of these together. Like so. Okay, so now it's going to be the crazy part, okay? So now we're going to have to take all these little wires and kind of poke them in places. Okay, so these 2 wires, it wants us to put in right over here. It wants us to go right there. All right, these 2 are going here and here. So now these are going one is going there. So then these 2, that one's going down there. This one is going down here. And then that other one already went over there. We got that. All right, then one of these is going, well, let's pick the one that's closest, which is this one. So this one is going here. And then these 3 are just going right in. This one is going down here. Okay. And then this one is going down there. And And this last one. Is going right in there. So we got this whole side done. So now we need to take these and we're going to be plugging them into the back of the vents. Okay, so there are different lengths here. So there are 4 long wires and 5 shorter wires. So obviously the longer wires are going to go on this end and the shorter ones are going to go on this end. So we're going red, yellow, red, blue. And hopefully these go in just as easily as the ones on this side. So the problem is I can't see the holes on this side. They are like underneath. And then just kind of ease it in. And yeah, they will go in. And we're doing the same on the other side, red, yellow, red, blue. And you don't need any glue. These fit in there pretty tight. Sort of once you get them started, and you can feed quite a bit down in there. There we go. And then this last red one is going to go right over here. Right there, like so. Perfect. Okay, that was the dreaded issue 48. Oh my goodness. So this is what we have. That is issue 48. And that's what it's looking like. Cool, so now that we're done with that, let's move on to the Lego. All right, so we left off last time we built this piece, and so our first step in this episode is to attach this piece right here. Okay, so there we have it. So we have like our little front bumper, which is very nice with those chrome pieces, and then we have the trans clear blue. All right, so let's continue on. Okay, so we're kind of cheating because we're supposed to stop at steps 168, but since we're doing these two sort of symmetrical pieces, I just decided to go ahead and go through 170, actually 171. So there. All right, so that's it for this episode. We basically completed these two. We attached the bumper that we made in the previous episode, and then we built these two components and attached them there. So that is it for this episode. Let me bring back what we did for the part work. And I'm not going to bring back the whole car because we only really worked on the dash and the center console. So this is what we worked on for the part work version. We did all this wire wrangling and got that all in there. And I'm not going to lie, there was some frustration, but we did get all this wire work in with minimal screaming, yelling, throwing, and all that good stuff. So I'm very happy with the way that turned out. And again, I hate to keep repeating it, but look how much this is just like the dash and like where the seats go in the Partwork DeLorean, and this is the entire Lego car. So again, this Partwork DeLorean is going to be so huge compared to the Lego version. But anyway, that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this wiring. So yeah, that was a thing. So I'm sure you saw my struggle in the video, so I'm not going to belabor it here. The only thing I'm going to say is, you know, if you're building this model also, either now or down the road, just take your time. It does go together fairly easily. It's just tedious in some points. And again, my overarching advice, take your time. So let's get into the summary of where we're at. We'll like kind of end this quickly since this was a longer episode. So for the Partwork build, we completed 65 steps and we used 31 parts. For the Lego build, we completed 17 steps and used 22 parts. So total to date for the Partwork build, we've completed 428 steps and used 320 parts. And for the Lego build, we have completed 319 steps and used 744 parts. So again, as I alluded to in a couple previous episodes, up until now, we've been completing around the same amount of steps, usually within about 10 or 15. But now we're starting to see a divergence in not only the parts used, but also the steps. We had about 110 step difference in this episode, where again, usually we average about maybe 15 steps difference. So the Partwork model is getting a lot more complicated, as we definitely saw in this episode. So way more steps. Again, usually a typical issue is maybe 7 or 8, maybe 10 steps. Issue 48 was 29 steps, I believe, maybe 30. So complications are coming. We're going to take our time. We're going to get through it. So hopefully you'll keep with me on this journey and we will get it done. Quickly before we go, please remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I know a lot of people who watch my videos, about 80% of them are not subscribers. So please click that subscribe button. It's totally free. While you're there, click the bell notification so you get notified of these videos. We've got some really cool stuff coming up in the future. We've got another one of these part builds with another pop culture vehicle that I'm super excited about. So no spoilers there. You'll have to wait for the announcement. So share this on social media, hit the like button, comment on the videos. Let's start a discussion. So without delaying you any longer, until we see each other again, happy building, take care, be kind to each other, and I will see you soon.